Hello viewer, welcome back to 54A for part 2 of the ash collection. It's going to be another bowl. I showed you the blank at the end of the last video, an 8-inch just about piece of ash. Oh, I found me hat, by the way. I think it was under all those shavings. I've already rounded the blank off on the bandsaw and got it on the lathe and just finished it off on there. Exactly the same process as the first bowl I did, so waste of time really just going through all that again. So we'll go over to the lathe and see if we can get a bit of shape on it. I've got this larger piece all rounded off now. I didn't want to bore you with that because you saw that in the first video. It's exactly the same process. Just get it nice and round, and then I'm going to put a mortise in this side. The only difference this time is I'm just using a parting tool just to put the groove in it. You can take it all out with a parting tool if you want. Just because it's called a parting tool doesn't mean that's all you've got to do with it. It's quite effective as a little scraper. You get a nice finish on it as well. It does take a bit more time, but just to say, you can use this, you can use a scraper, you can use a spindle gouge. Just get your mortise in like I showed you in the last video, sand it up, polish it up, you're away. Now this is what I mean by getting the shoulders right. Now if I can get that on the video, this is a part of the jaws for the dovetail. As you can see, it's undercut at an angle. Now that fits in under the shoulder. Hang on, get it round so you can see it. As you can see, there you go, it fits under that shoulder that you've undercut with your skew chisel, and then when you expand the jaws it grabs really nice and tightly. Less chance, well hardly any chance of it coming out then. So just make sure that you put a good undercut on your mortise and you should be fine. Now as before, I'm just going to put a bit of shape on here, leave a little foot around the edge of the mortise again, shape the bottom of the bowl before I turn it round. Now I can sand that up, polish it, it's finished. Don't have to worry about going back there then. And carry on like that until you've got the shape that you want. I shall dig quite a lot more out before I show you how I'm going to shape around the outer rim. Right, I've started getting a bit of shape on here now. What I want is what they call an OG shape, really, which is, it's basically, think of an S, and out there and it goes in there, so you've got an S shape around the bowl, and it just leave a little rim. So I've got a bit more shaping, well quite a bit more shaping to do, but that's the general idea. Now you can do this with a scraper, spindle gouge, whatever you like. I'll show you a bit with a scraper. That's a bit high. I'm hardly touching this, it's a very sharp tool. Keep the curve nice and smooth as possible until you've got the shape that you want. I'm only turning it at quite a slow speed just to show you. I usually turn it up a bit, but you can see the shape coming on now. So I'm going to carry on now and do that until I've got about 1/4 of an inch. Maybe leave a little bit more because I've got to face the top of the bowl off yet. So I'll carry on and see you later. Now you can see the defining shape that I'm after now. I'm just going to take a little bit more off this radius here. It's just a bit too steep, I think, at the moment. That's better, a lot better. Right, I shall sand that down before I turn the bowl round and put it in the mortise. Now for the polish on this one, I'm doing something a little bit different. I've got a stick of beeswax, rock hard stuff. Put it on while the lathe's spinning. You only need to scrape it along. This will last for years. Now the beeswax, you've got to melt it. So you've got to get your tissue and as fast a speed as you dare go, really, and you'll feel the heat coming through onto your fingers. Once that happens, you know you've melted the beeswax into the wood. I don't know if the camera pick up the actual shine on this, but it's a beautiful finish, absolutely like a mirror, that is. So that's what I'm doing on this one. So there's so many alternatives. You can have a high shine, a nice sheen, satin finish. If you don't want, you just leave it, just sand it, you know, it's up to you. Right, I'm going to get this turned round and start hollowing out. Right, I've got this one turned round now nicely in the jaws. Now this one I want to put quite a rim on this one, so I'm going to come in about there, I think, and just put a little mark there just to show you. So I'm just going to define that with my parting tool. Now I should just face that off a bit and then start digging out exactly the same as I did with the smaller bowl. Now for this one I'm just going to go along and use my parting tool that way, just to flatten this edge off. That's given me a nice surface now for the rim of the bowl. So now I'll start digging out using my spindle gouge and scraper. Just make sure your cutting edge is sort of level with the centre of your piece. They tend to work at their best like that. That's about right. Carry on like that until you've got what you want out the way. So I'm not very quick at this, but I'd rather just take my time. I've got loads of time. A lot of people can do it a lot faster than I can, but I'm pretty slow at this kind of work, so that's why I speed the videos up. It's a bit less boring for you. Now I tend to find when I'm hollowing out, if I start getting a bit of a judder on it, I just tilt the tool back slightly. You should go really about 45 degrees instead of 90 like that. Just bring it a bit shallower and take more gentle cuts. That's how I do it anyway. And you get a nice smooth cut. If you can do it in one sweep, that's great. You're going to get less ridges, but if you can't, don't worry about it. You'll be able to take the ridges out with your finishing cuts later. One more thing, keep your tool rest as close as you can when you're hollowing out. If you keep it straight like so, when you get to a certain depth, your tool's quite a long way away. You might start getting this kind of thing happen, and it starts vibrating. So it's best to swing it in, obviously not touching, but get it nice and close. The closer your tool rest is to the work, the better you're going to get your cut. So I'm just using my scraper now, putting the finishing cuts on now, getting it nice and smooth. Any ridges I might have, they're disappearing now. And I'm hardly putting any pressure on at all. I'm just guiding it along. I'm not digging in at all, just very gentle. And as long as you've got a nice sharp edge, you should get a decent finish on it. And just keep it nice and round, follow the contour, and do that till you're happy with it. Right, I've got the inside just about how I want it now, but I've just decided to sort of reprofile the outside of it, so this lip gets a bit thinner, well, half the thickness I want that it is at the moment. So I'm just running around nice and gentle, keeping the shape, the OG shape, just running around with my scraper and taking a bit off, and just doing that basically. I'll show you. Again, nice and gentle. The scraper being what they call a half round, it's sort of defining the shape anyway. So if you just go with the contour of the scraper onto the wood, you'll get a nice curve. I'm just going to take a little bit more off. It's nearly there now, how I want it anyway. And then get on with the next bit, which will be the sanding. Right, I've just put my final, I hope, finishing cuts using the scraper again, very gently on this edge, just to take it a little bit thinner, and just a final one, make sure there's no ridges on the inside, and that feels pretty good to me now. So I've just got to sand it up, and you know the procedure for that. Don't miss a grit, otherwise you're just wasting your time. And nobody likes sanding very much, so the smoother you can get your item to start with, the quicker you can sand it. That's really nice. I'm quite pleased with the shape of that. So I shall get on with the sanding sealant, polish it up, and I'll show you the finished thing. One more thing about sanding: if you've got a dust extractor, chip extractor, please use it. The dust is that fine you can't see it, and it will get on your lungs. If you haven't got a dust extractor, go and nick the Weiss Hoover. Anything is better than nothing. So I always have mine on anyway, so that's one thing to invest in. In fact, I've got a Hoover for the workshop that only cost me about 18 quid off eBay. But say, if you've got a dust extractor or a Hoover, please use it while you're sanding. And there it is. Lovely shine on that. Very pleased with that. Nice shape to it, as you can see. Kept this sort of OG shape, as I said. And nice defined edge round here. I didn't bother rounding it off. I kept it quite acute, quite sharp. And yep, a lovely little bowl. Quite straightforward to make, so it's worth having a go, have a practice. And that's number 2 in the ash collection. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'm really pleased with how this one's turned out. Just one thing, and I'll just get the camera and show you. Now, how do you get all that out of 2 of them? Because believe me, you can't get it back in again. And there's even more on the bench, but I've swept most of it away. Yeah, so you sure get a lot of shavings out of a little bowl. And another thing I've learned, I've just asked Sheila if she'd mind coming to sweep up for me, clean the shop up. Now, I didn't know she could speak Russian, but her answer ended in off, and I haven't seen her since. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you soon with part 3. It won't be a bowl, don't know what it will be yet, but something that's not too difficult. Please like, share and subscribe. and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now.